How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well. So today I'm glad that you were able to come in. What I want to do is just set an agenda. What we're going to do first is, go through, see how you're feeling today. We're going to do a mood check. We're going to get an update from this past week. We're going to, talk about whatever's been, on your plate this week. Afterwards, we're going to, check in and see how homework was for last week. And then I'm going to introduce some mindfulness techniques, so that'll be something new that we're going to be doing today.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, you can expect us, giving, a little quick summary of, how today was, and then I'll get some feedback from you. Does that sound good?
Sounds great, thank you.
Perfect. Let's jump into the mood check. So, on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being the least stressed that you've ever been, and 10 being the most stressed that you've ever been, where were you this week?
I would probably say a 1, and I have to tell you, it's been a great week.
Good. Okay. Tell me about it.
Well, I just got back from vacation, so that's really cool.
Nice.
I'm very relaxed, but the day before our vacation, I had an interview at a school that was close to my house, and less than 24 hours after I got that interview done, I was on my way to Tennessee and was given a call by the principal and asked if I would want a job there, and I said, of course. So
very good.
That was
congratulations.
Really good. Thank you.
I'm sure you're on cloud 9.
I really am.
Good. And so this means, I know that you are applying to these jobs to get closer to home. Is this somewhere closer in proximity to where you live?
It's like 10 to 12 minutes from my house, so
Perfect.
That's really good.
So less gas mileage, less time going, to and from work. You get a little bit more personal time.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, this week was great. So as far as one goes, that's, a great level of stress. So tell me a little bit about your vacation, what you guys did.
Oh, it was really, really, really nice. We drove, well, our destination was to go to Chattanooga.
Sure.
As well as Clarksville, Tennessee, which is where we met, but it's such a long distance. So we just drove halfway up and stayed with my mom for a little bit, and then, and that was in Georgia. And then we went up to Clarksville, and then down to Chattanooga, where we spent most of our time,
Okay.
and then came home today. So it was really nice.
Very nice.
It was
Okay. So, sounds like you had a great time. I'm sure that was very restful.
It was beautiful. We got to see a lot of old friends. It was very nice.
Oh, it's always good reconnecting with people, so I'm happy that you had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So, since, you had a great week, let's go and see how, homework went. I know it was probably a little bit different since you were at vacation, but, last week we did have the thought record, where you went through, identified, certain things that was challenging you, how you felt in the moment, things that, kind of supported that, that hot thought that we spoke about, things that didn't support it, and then how you felt afterwards. How did that go last week?
Well, it really worked out well because remember the last time I said when I had applied for a job and then I found out I didn't get it, I was like, well, what is it about me that they didn't like?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let's see what we're going to do on this next one, because I had a couple of other places that I was looking into and applying for. And so I wrote down some of those thoughts of, why didn't they like me, or what can I improve? Maybe I'm not this or that or the other. And so I just wrote them down, and then I kind of took a step back, and I realized, if I look at my evaluations and all that stuff, I'm doing a good job as a teacher. It just wasn't the right place. And so when I started changing my thoughts, I actually got this interview like on a whim, and it happened so quickly. I was just, within hours, I called, and they were like, yes, we need you in at this time. And I was like, okay, no problem. Even canceled a tutoring appointment and went there, and in the middle of the rain, went right in there and I did the interview, and she seemed really excited during the interview, so that made me feel good. And then when I went home, I just tried to remember those positive things, and it helped. It helped.
Yeah. Sometimes after interviews, and I'm sure after getting told that you weren't going to be accepted for a certain position, do you sometimes pick apart at yourself after interviews, like, oh, I should have said this, or really get down on yourself?
I think everyone's like, oh man, I could have said this and I could have said that, but in a way, it was the day before I was getting ready to go on vacation, so I was just like, I'm going to lay everything I can on the table now, and it is what it is. I remember telling myself, it is what it is. We're just going to keep on going. We have all summer to interview if we need to. And I think because I didn't put so much stress on myself, it kind of helped.
Okay, very good. So Loretta, I wanted to see, what exactly did you want to work on today? Of everything that happened this week. I know last week you spoke about the jobs, which that's been resolved. I know that you were really wanting some personal time, and I know that you being on vacation probably really served that purpose. But now that you're back home and you're starting to get into the swing of things, what can you anticipate maybe this week, or what are some things that you'd like to work on while we're here today, since we have such a limited time?
I just know how I am, and I don't want to over stress and thinking about how can I make this transition smooth, because I've only worked at one school, and I've already been I'm in a new grade level, and so I've already been doing research on like what do I need to do for this one, and I think I'm getting myself worked up, so I gotta just kind of take it easy and say, hey, look, enjoy the summer, and you'll get to that part when it's time.
Okay, so yeah, that is a lot of that is a lot of transition that you'll be anticipating. So you're in a new grade. What grade are you going to? You were in second grade before.
I was in second. Now I'm going to be in first.
Okay, so like a little, one grade down. You said that you're already looking at different things to do while you're in first grade. So that is really proactive. So that's great. But you still notice yourself still getting stressed. What are you thinking of in the moment whenever you're stressed?
I guess it's just there's so much to look at.
Sure.
And I don't know anything about the kids that are at this new school. And see, I mean, I have history on the families at my school that I've come from. Yeah. And so I guess I really want to make sure that I'm being prepared.
Sure.
And sometimes I might stress out a little bit by trying to overdo things. So maybe just taking it easy.
Well, you told me in the last session that you have received, very high scores when being reviewed. So, if the school that you're coming from, sees a lot of, great work that you provided in this new school, called you within the day to let you know that you had a job, I'm very confident that you're going to be able to find your groove just like you did in your last school. So,
I know I will. It's just sometimes I overdo it in my brain.
Yeah. Okay. Is this something that you do pretty often whenever it's something new or something that you don't expect?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you start having those feelings of something's new? I'm not too sure about it. What is it? Is it what is the emotion that you can tie to that?
I mean, I think. Gosh, even back in high school, like I would always, if something was hard or I perceived it as hard, I would always try to over prepare just to make sure I was ready for anything.
Okay. And why do you think that is? Always feeling like you need to over prepare,
I picked the hard teachers, one, and then I just wanted to make my mom and dad proud.
Okay. Would you say that you deal with, maybe some perfectionism sometimes?
Probably.
Okay. And that could probably cause a lot of stress because you're probably doing, even going above and beyond what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And, even adding extra stress to yourself. Okay. So I can imagine that being really stressful whenever starting something new.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I'd like to work on today, we've already discussed our homework for this, for the past week, but for this week, I wanted to introduce mindfulness techniques. And so mindfulness, long story short about mindfulness is just really checking in to where you're at right now, really using your five senses. And today we're going to be focusing on, honing in on just breathing. So we're going to be doing a breathing exercise. Mindfulness is really great as far as, really checking in. So you feel really stressed, you'd be able to use this exercise, and you can do it for as long as you need. So what we're going to do today is do a breathing exercise. So I'm going to want to, have you get really comfy in your chair. So, if you want to just sit with your, self, with all the way back in your chair, really comfy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. And what I want you to do is you can close your eyes or keep them open, and breathe in for 3 breaths, and then whenever you exhale, breathe out for 4 seconds.
Oh, okay.
All right, so breathe in not for 3 breaths, but breathe in 1, 2, 3, and then whenever you exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Sound good?
Mhm.
And I'll do it with you. So
Okay.
breathe in. All right, and in. And in. 1, 2, 3. And out. 1, 2, 3. And another thing that you might be able to try is whenever you're breathing in, 1, 2, 3, take a pause, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And what you want to do whenever you are breathing is really focus on that breathing. So though it may be hard, though you might have a couple things, kind of going in your head, it's okay if you think about them. You don't have to, beat yourself up for not, thinking about your breath, but you want to kind of gently, focus yourself back onto your breath and how it feels coming in and how it feels, going out, and sort of, everything, where your feet are laying, how it feels being in your chair. Just really focus that attention on where you're feeling right then at the moment. And what you may notice is that you start to, with you focusing on your body, that you are thinking less about whatever is, challenging you or stressing you out.
Kind of like distracting your mind.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Distracting your mind, kind of taking that focus and refocusing it back on something that is helpful instead of something that raises your anxiety. Right?
Got it. That sounds fun.
Okay. So I'd encourage you to do this week, along with your thought record. That is something that I'd like you to keep, doing in the oncoming weeks, but introducing the mindfulness aspect. And I think that we can, in future sessions, start bringing in other exercises. But this one, I think, is something really quick and easy that you're able to do in your car, in your class, if you get a break, and, maybe even while you're preparing, for your new school. And, next week I'd like you to, tell me how it goes for whenever you use that.
Sounds like a great idea. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So, Loretta, today, we did the mood check. You checked in at a 1 today, which is really, really good compared to last week. We discussed, your vacation, which sounds like you had a really great time in. Kind of your stress and, anticipating your new school and your new grade and, everything, the whole transition from the school that you've been at for the last 5-6 years. We, tested out some mindfulness techniques with breathing and, checking in, focusing on our body. So I would like to see how was the session for you? Any feedback as far as, how did you feel like it went today?
I think it went well. I kind of like that breathing stuff. I tried to, I don't do the count thingy, but, I just take a deep breath and blow it out slowly, just, because sometimes you just get frustrated and it's easier to do that than anything else that's crazy. So
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be great.
Okay, perfect. Well, I would like to go ahead and schedule our next session. Would this time next week be good for you?
I'm sure that would be fine. Thank you.
Perfect. So I'll go ahead and see you next week. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Do you say it recorded?